Hi, welcome back. My name is Jörg, which is German for George, here at Find a Job in Germany in Berlin. Job security is a very big issue for you guys, and I do know that we're quite aware of that. And the good news really is that here in Germany, hire and fire, we only really use that phrase when we talk about the US. It's nothing that you will see in Germany. German labor law is employee friendly. That's the good news, and here's what I mean. So I'm sure you all know these Hollywood movies where a character gets fired at the office, somebody calls them in, then they give them that little sad speech where they say, "Oh, we're sorry, but we have to let you go." And then you see them packing their things. They need to hand over their badge. They hand over their laptop. They leave the office with that carton box, and that's it. Only in a few and very exceptional cases will you see these kinds of situations happening in Germany. Now, why is that, you may be wondering? Well, first of all, there is really no hire and fire like that here in Germany, which doesn't mean that an immediate termination doesn't take place at all. It's just really rare, and it only happens in severe situations. So I want to talk about these situations. What you have to know, however, is that in the beginning of your employment, there is a probation period. That applies throughout all countries pretty much. And in that probation period, which I'm sure you already know from your current job, is where you are the weakest link. Probationary periods here in Germany typically last for 6 months. I've also seen it being cut down to 3, which is very fortunate. But yeah, 6 months is really standard now. During your probation, I'm saying it again, you are an easy target because your notice period will only be 2 weeks, okay? So this is where the employer can technically say, all right, we're done. And that's where they don't really have to give a lot of reasons for that. That's why we always say to our successful coachees who've made it to Germany, please make sure that you overperform during that period and do constant feedback meetings with your team lead, with your colleagues to get behind where you may be struggling. This is really indispensable to foresee running into any potential trouble. Good news is that since you're then in Germany, you will also get way more interview invitations if the shit hits the fan, as we like to say, but that's another story. You don't have to worry about it if you're having these constant feedback meetings. What I want to mention as well is that your probation should also be a two-way street, right? So the notice period also applies if you are not happy with them and if you feel like you want to switch jobs, because it's really important that you do evaluate them as well. Now, if you've just arrived in Germany, that won't be the wisest move because your visa is still tied to your employer and you haven't gotten your permit extended beyond 6 months yet, let alone your permanent residency. But really, if you feel that this is not the right job for you, then of course you should not force yourself to staying there. Now, let me repeat this. During your probation, you will be an easy target, but once that is done, you are in the clear and you can switch to cruise control mode. Cruise control mode then will be where you are beyond the probationary period, because what happens then is you are protected by pretty employee-friendly legislation here in Germany. And other than in the US, Germany has a very long-standing tradition of unions and employee protection. To some employers, the protections actually go a little too far. You're going to hear these debates every now and then in Germany, how they're not able to get rid of people. But hey, that's not your problem then, right? It's good for you. What that means is that after your probation, your employer will only be allowed to let you go under exceptional circumstances. And those exceptional circumstances is something that they will need to prove, especially when it comes to economic reasons, right? So the situation where a business is saying, hey, we're not doing well, we have to let people go, we have to make cuts. So I don't want to have to go into details here, but unless you have really let yourself go, you won't be facing any issues. Now, the standard procedure for any termination would then also require them to give you a warning first, okay? They can't just give you that termination notice. And the term for this is Abmahnung. So if you're following European football, it's kind of like they do it there. They have to show you a yellow card first. So say you've come to work late on several occasions, and there will be one first warning, one first Abmahnung like that. And only if you keep repeating your shortcomings, either the same or a different one, then there will be serious consequences. But hey, I mean, those are all circumstances within your power anyway, right? And as long as you do your job well, as long as you interact well, be a good colleague, be proactive, contribute also to a good work environment, you really have, I would say, nothing to worry about. Let me come back to that scenario where a German company is now facing economic challenges. In the event that is the case, then they do need to prove that cutting your job is actually the only way that they can keep the business running. So they need to prove that. And this is also where sometimes there are severance packages. So that can even be killing two birds with one stone. You get a severance package and you get a new job with a higher salary. So, but generally where we see the cuts is not in tech and IT when that's the case. That's usually in sales, HR, R&D. Those are the departments which are generally on top of the list when there is cuts. One more thing about your employment contract. We find a job in Germany observing a certain trend here that many employers will even try to tie you to them after your probation is over, offering you a contract with a 3-month notice period. So as you can see, it even goes the other way around. The reason is quite simple. From their point of view, finding tech and IT professionals in Germany is tough. Once they've met that, decision in your favor and made the selection in your favor, then they're hoping not to have to recruit again soon. So it's really hard to find a suitable replacement in a shorter period of time. For you, that won't be a problem. Those 3 months, if you ever think about switching in the future, really, German companies are quite used to that. It's not a problem. Even if you're not in Germany yet, by the way, 3-month notice period on your current job is not an issue if you're looking for a job. You might want to think about how you can maybe cut that down by a few weeks. That's what we keep saying to those in our coaching program. But in general, we've also had successful coachees who've come to Germany with a 3-month notice period in their current contract. The reason is that this is roughly how long your visa is going to take anyway, can be a little shorter. So where you meet in the middle, then that works perfectly fine. Which brings me to our Find a Job in Germany coaching program, where we help you find a job in Germany in tech and IT. If that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead, watch our video training where you find the link right underneath this video. Watch our video training fully to understand how we work, and you can go ahead, book your get to know call, send us your CV. You're going to find the instructions in the confirmation mail and so on. We're already looking forward to meeting you. All the best and talk soon.